Thank you, Jane. Welcome to BBC London. Coming up on the programme, concerns over pedicab safety after this collision with a double-decker bus in central London, injuring 3 people. There are now calls for immediate regulation.
It doesn't matter who's riding it, the bottom line is these things are dangerous. Transport for London needs to pull their finger out and get this sorted.
Well, we find out what Transport for London has to say also tonight. Costing councils hundreds of thousands, Croydon tells us how it's cracking down on fly tipping. Plus, sailing on the Thames, a chance to see this Viking ship replica after its epic 2-year journey from Norway to London. And Peckham's pioneering jockey chats to us after making her amateur debut at Goodwood. Hello and good evening to you. BBC London has obtained dashcam footage of a collision between a pedicab and bus on Oxford Street over the bank holiday weekend. 3 people were injured and one of them remains in a critical condition in hospital. It's led to calls for immediate regulation of the pedicab industry. Tonight, Transport for London admitted unregulated pedicabs raised questions about safety on the capital's roads and that it's working to regulate the industry. With more, here's our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards.
This is dashcam footage on Oxford Street on Saturday night. It shows a rickshaw that veers straight into the path of a bus going in the opposite direction. We haven't shown the impact. Passers-by then try and help those involved. It's been reported the rickshaw was taken without permission. 3 ended up in hospital with serious injuries. And black cab groups say the incident raises questions about the speed of regulation.
These vehicles are inherently dangerous. We had one tested at the Transport Research Laboratory 20 years ago, and it absolutely disintegrated when hit by a car, identical to what we saw in that footage where the rickshaw hits the bus. It doesn't matter who's riding it, the bottom line is these things are dangerous. Transport for London needs to pull their finger out and get this sorted, make it safe for Londoners, stop tourists getting ripped off and make this a better city, which is what they're supposed to be doing.
Go and make good price for you, for all of us.
Today on Westminster Bridge, pedicabs or rickshaws were out plying their trade. They are doing nothing illegal, but the cost of a ride was extortionate. For example, £90 for 2 to London Bridge. And the riders didn't like us filming the price list. TfL were given powers to regulate pedicabs 18 months ago. It says it spent time engaging with the pedicab industry and other stakeholders to help shape proposals. Transport for London says pedicabs are the only form of unregulated transport in the capital, and as such they have an impact on the safety of the road network. It says they are at the moment working hard to introduce new regulation, and a second consultation on that will be carried out shortly. The investigation into what happened on Oxford Street is ongoing, but there are questions over the speed of regulation. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Plenty more ahead this Wednesday evening, including driving off without paying. Out-of-pocket petrol station owners tell us how they're turning to technology to help. Next, waste being dumped on public roads and streets. The issue of fly tipping is costing London councils hundreds of thousands of pounds. Now, one of the worst affected boroughs, Croydon, says it's cracking down on the crime. As Layla Hayes reports.
Piles of rubbish dumped on a quiet residential street in Thornton Heath. Just one of many areas of London where fly tipping is now a growing problem. Not only is this rubbish an eyesore, it absolutely stinks. There are flies everywhere. And of course the risk is there could also be rats.
It stinks. The stench is too much.
Animota Tunga has lived in the area for more than 20 years.
I wake up in the morning, open my blinds, and the first thing I see is all this rubbish. It's so Very disgusting.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel bad. It's getting worse. You've got the mattresses there, you've got all sort of things in there that are meant to be in their bins.
Boxes, letters, various bits. And
Last year, Croydon Council spent around £1 million clearing fly-tipped waste, and the local mayor says he's now had enough.
As a council, we're taking a zero tolerance approach to this, and we've put new officers on the street, eyes and ears on the street, who are actually going through the rubbish, looking for those addresses so that we can go back to people, find them, prosecute them, and also secure pieces of land like the one that's behind me.
One of the new enforcement officers is Ken Thompson. He says the things he sees can be shocking.
Raw meat is the worst one. People, and I think there was raw meat in that one we looked at. Human waste, you see a lot of that. The one thing I was worried about with that mattress, and that's why I kept away from it, was, chance of people dump mattresses because of bed bugs and things like that.
On the spot, fines for fly tipping have now risen from £400 to £1,000, but the council also wants the public's help.
We do want CCTV images, and what we're now looking at is doing naming and shaming. So we're actually going to put this stuff online. Do you know this person? Do you know this car? So that we can actually follow these things through.
Enforcement is one thing, but the message is, if you like where you live, please don't ruin it. Layla Hayes, BBC London.
Turning to some of the day's other news now. A man has appeared in court charged with the murder of ice cream seller Shahzad Khan, who was repeatedly stabbed in Wembley earlier this month. Zahir Zarour was remanded in custody and will next appear at the Old Bailey in November. Essex police say a 6-year-old girl who was critically injured when a tree partially collapsed in Southend 8 weeks ago is now in a stable condition. The girl's cousin, 7-year-old Leona Ruka from Dagenham, died in the incident. A Metropolitan Police officer has appeared in court charged with 4 counts of rape. PC Robert Wing from Waltham Forest is also accused of 3 other counts of sexual assault. The charges relate to alleged incidents that took place between 2011 and 2016. And struggling water firm Thames Water has been granted permission to pay its record fine of over £122 million in instalments. It was over sewage spills and shareholder payouts. It will pay £25 million of that no later than the end of September after it agreed a payment plan with the regulator Ofwat. Now, it apparently happens more here in the capital than anywhere else in the country. Reported fuel theft. That's according to the organisation that many petrol station owners report so-called drive-offs to in the hope of recovering their money. Nisha Patel has been to meet one owner who's using technology as a possible solution.
Watch the driver in the grey van, filling up a petrol can. He gets in his car and drives off without paying. It's a crime that's costing the petrol industry millions and small business owners like Goran more than £7,000 a year.
It's had a real substantial impact on the business. In the last 4 years, we've lost £30,000 due to drive-offs. People see the Shell pectin up there, but we're actually a 4th generation firm who have been selling Shell fuel since 1929 consistently. Any losses on this site, any theft from this site, the bottom line comes down to me. I make the loss, not Shell.
Some people watching this might think, isn't it just easier to get people to pay at the pump? But that's not really a solution for a business owner, is it?
No, it's not. It does sound like the simple, easy way to do it. However, people won't believe this. There is hardly any money to be made in petrol. The money is made in the shop, and we need you to come into the shop. I make far more money selling someone a Mars bar, a can of Coke and a bottle of wine than I do filling up your tank.
Industry magazine Forecourt Trader has analysed the data for the capital. A Freedom of Information request showed that between 2020 and 2024, a fifth of the total number of reported drive-offs took place at filling stations in Ealing, Enfield, Hayes, Thamesmead and Camden. In response, the Met Police say they are continuing to target prolific offenders through intelligence-led patrols and operations, this summer making more than 1,300 arrests, clamping down on crime and antisocial behaviour. Independent retailers who often operate on small margins say they are being hit hard. In response, some are turning to private debt collectors, Others have started using ANPR, automatic number plate recognition systems, to try and catch repeat offenders.
We've got a CCTV system that's got an ANPR capability on it, so it reads number plates on the cars. On top of that, it uses AI in the background. The cameras look at the car and say, yes, that's a red Fiesta and it's filling up with unleaded. Once it has that information, it then contacts a DVLA database and matches the information up. If the information is correct, it just rolls through, nothing happens. If the DVLA come back and say, no, that should be a blue Escort, it will then flag it and we'll get an alert come up on the screen, at which point we'll stop the pumps.
Technology like this has helped decrease crime by up to 80% on Goran's forecourt. But not every business can afford this technology, which can often mean crime just moves around. Essex police say they take forecourt crime seriously, and offences of this kind have halved since 2018.
Well, historically, a lot of police forces have said that they won't attend any crime below £100, but I think the new government has actually tried to remove that threshold. So they are encouraging the police to intervene more, and we've seen that with improving numbers of police attendance for shoplifting incidents, and obviously with improving that on the fuel theft as well. So work is being done.
Until a long-term solution is in place for everyone, businesses say they'll be forced to pass the cost of fuel on to customers. Nisha Patel, BBC London.
Now, so many of you got in touch with your views on a story we covered yesterday. Posters on the network urging commuters to be more considerate and use headphones instead of using their devices on loudspeaker to make calls, play music or watch videos. Sound familiar?
Hello! I'm on the train!
Well, here's a flavour of some more of them. One person wrote to say, it certainly should be illegal to listen to music or videos without headphones. I'm aware this may not be enforceable all the time, but what law is enforced 100% of the time? Hopefully, it will reduce it at the very least. Another said, fining people for playing music, etc. out loud on phones should be standard across all public transport. Someone else said, likely to make very little difference unless it's enforced properly. And this last one said a significant number of the people playing their phones out loud are 50 plus. This isn't a young people problem, it's an inconsiderate people problem. You may agree or disagree. Obviously, lots of opinions with this story. You can see more of them and the story itself on the BBC London website and BBC News app, and share your thoughts on our social media pages. Now, still to come tonight before 7.
She's been called the world's most modern Viking ship, and she's travelled the 7 seas to be right here in St Catherine Docks, and we're going to be taking a sneak peek on board.
A group which supports Caribbean and African entrepreneurs, charities and artists in Ealing fears for its future with the lease set to expire on its current premises. Case, as it's known, which is believed to be the only such cultural hub in the borough, has called on the council for help in finding a new home. Chris Legg paid a visit to one of their recent poetry readings.
I used to love him, the way he moved, his physique, his style.
Poetry reading at the Caribbean and African Collective in Ealing, known as CASE. Just one of countless activities run by a group that could soon be homeless.
We are really fearful for the future, for our space. We haven't been here long, but in that short time we've managed to develop and grow our community. We've got 330 members of all ages, and we really have a beautiful space to come and share our culture and educate people about the Black diaspora in the borough of Ealing.
Gloria, a retired nurse, now writes and reads her own poetry here.
I guess this is going to be my last opportunity for me to tell my story, tell my feelings.
Her latest work, Moving On, is about the group's search for a new home.
Moving on is not goodbye. It's reaching out and aiming high. I've lived in Ealing for over 65 years. There's not many people from the Caribbean in Ealing now, but CASE is welcoming. You walk in, you chat, you exchange. What's going to happen when this is gone?
The lease will soon be up, and £65,000 is needed to move to a new site. Case has asked the council for help.
Lots of organisations need council support and they can't all get it. Why should the council help you?
The council have said that they are promoting Ealing. They want to promote Ealing as a borough of culture. Without focusing on the black community in Ealing, without supporting the black community in Ealing, it's really difficult to prove yourself as a borough of culture.
The building is privately owned. It isn't run by the council. Ealing Council says it recognises the value of Case. It says councillors have visited the centre and spoken with the group to help explore possible solutions. Gloria is among those hoping a solution can be found soon.
We need somewhere. We really do need somewhere. And I'm pleading, anyone who's seeing this, watching this, we do need a welcoming home once more. In Ealing's heart, a dream lives on. For, with a helping hand, we will build our new united home. Thank you.
Chris Slegg, BBC London.
Now, this summer, London has welcomed several ships along the Thames, and the latest arrived last night at St Catherine Docks. The 25-ton Viking vessel will be moored for the next week and a half and is hailed as the world's most modern Viking ship. And people can get the chance to go on board and have a look. So, of course, we sent our reporter Frankie McCamley to check it out, and we can join her now. Hi, Frankie.
Hello, Riz. Yes, welcome on board the Saga Farman. We were actually allowed on board this ship. It's been travelling around the Thames all day. It's come back here to St Catherine Dock today, and it's a very special ship. It arrived to a huge round of applause. Lots of people coming to see it and to tell us a little bit more about the most modern Viking ship. Please tell us more. Explain this ship and how it is the most modern Viking ship.
Well, yeah, first of all, the hull and everything you see here is like the original ships. But under the deck here, we have tons of electronics. We have battery banks, we have generators, we have electric parts, joystick control, moving all direction, give us very good maneuverability. But you can't see it because we prefer to sail, and we prefer to sail it as a Viking ship.
Oh, well, it looks like a Viking ship. You've really pulled that off. And we all know about power tools. We were talking a little bit earlier, and this, you tell us, is a power tool.
Yeah, this is a Viking power tool. This is actually a winch. It's a man or woman-driven power tool. So we're using this to hoist the sail by using these sticks. One man on each stick, pulling down to pull.
Do you need some help there?
No, yeah, no. I can't pull it any further because it's quite heavy and the entire ship is connected to it. But that's how we hoist the sail, using this winch.
It's incredible. So we'll leave that because we can't hoist that alone. But we were talking earlier also about the wheel on the ship. Usually we see a wheel, but this one doesn't have that. It's got something different.
Right. That's right. So this is the rudder and this is the tiller. And this is the rudder on a Viking ship. It's actually on starboard side. And starboard is, for those who doesn't know, a Viking word. It comes from styrbord, or the steering board. And the steering board is this board going down into water that you can steer the ship with the tiller, like this. And that's why we got the name starboard.
We learn something new every day. Let's come back so the viewers can still see this boat. And talk me through the outfit too. It's incredible. I'm sorry I didn't dress the part today.
Yeah, okay. So Viking stylish linen clothing. It could be wool, it could be silk. Actually, they had possibility to trade with silk route and down Istanbul. Leather, of course, fur, jewelry, tools, that kind of things, yeah.
You look absolutely fantastic. And for those who want to come and take a look at this ship, it is going to be here during the boat festival.
Absolutely. We are going to stay right here in this corner. So it's just coming, the ship will be open, people can come on board, smell the ship, smell the Viking.
And that's it, the smell. It smells incredible, doesn't it? And after it's been here, it is going on to Greenwich, isn't it? So if you miss it here, you still do have a chance.
End of September, I guess, we will be on the lawn in front of the main entrance of the National Maritime Museum.
Lars Bill, thank you ever so much. So you hear it right here. If you miss it here, there's plenty of opportunities, especially in Greenwich too. Back to you, Riz.
OK, Frankie, you're one happy customer. Thank you both. OK, to a Londoner now who's already made history when she became the first British Muslim woman to win a horse race in Britain. She was just 18 at the time. Now, 6 years on, Khadija Mellah made her amateur debut at Goodwood Racecourse last week, finishing 6th. She's been chatting to Alice van der Graave.
That's Uncle Dick, here he is. Hello, boy. This is him. He's got a big personality. I mean, I've only just recently started riding him, and obviously for my amateur race, he is like the one who's going to make or break everything for me, which has been brilliant. Hey, 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 hey.
After winning her very first charity race in 2019, Khadija Mellah decided to get her degree in mechanical engineering before honing her skills, riding out with different racing yards across the southeast.
Khadija, you call yourself an outsider. Talk to me about that.
I mean, I'd say most amateur jockeys you come across will be like the sons or daughters of trainers or the son or a daughter of a big owner. I'd say horse racing generally is a bit of a network, and breaking into that network can be difficult. And even if you do break into that network, it doesn't mean you'll get the opportunity to race ride.
But Khadija has beaten the odds, starting at her local stables, the Ebony Riding Club in Brixton, at the age of 12.
I was on the waiting list for 2 years because there's 9 horses and the whole of South London that wants to ride them. And it only caters to a small group of young people, and it's a youth club charity. And I was obsessed when I first saw it because obviously it's like 10 minutes from my house, and other riding clubs are normally miles away and they're really expensive, and Ebony Horse Club, well, you know, I was only paying £7 a session.
And beyond the financial hurdles, Khadija says there can be cultural ones too.
When you talk about some of the difficulties integrating, how much of that is around being a young Muslim woman who wears a hijab?
I think initially, most people in racing have been fairly welcoming. However, I get the odd question that is just, I think, ignorance. People assume that I'm strange whenever they first meet me. I think it's just like a subconscious thing that I'm different and I'm strange and I probably won't get on with them. And then obviously we have a conversation and they realise I'm just like anyone else.
You're a horsewoman.
Yeah, just with a hijab on my head, and that's the only difference.
And Khadija has set up the Riding a Dream Academy to support other young people from diverse communities to get into the industry.
I've struggled, but hopefully they'll struggle less and less than me, and they'll have more opportunities to perform at higher levels. So yeah, that's the plan. Is it okay if we grab a leg up?
It's hoped the scholarship in her name will inspire new talent to break new ground.
So what's next for Khadija Mellah?
More races and more wins. Hopefully.
Alice van der Graave, BBC London.
Peckham's Khadija Mellah there, and I think there will be more wins. Now, if you're a big Coldplay fan, or just anywhere near Wembley actually, you will definitely know they're currently on a world tour, including a record-breaking 10 nights at Wembley Stadium. People from all over the world have flocked to London, the city where it all began for the band over a quarter of a century ago. Some of those lucky enough to get their hands on tickets have been sharing their excitement and stories by the stadium steps, which have been repainted. What else, of course, but yellow.
This is like a massive bucket list. Yeah, this is a huge bucket list moment for us.
I love it. It's my dad's favourite, and he recently passed away, so I wanted to do this in memory of him.
I think Coldplay is just so magical. The crowd it brings together. It's all types of people, all ages, and everyone just unites.
I have a daughter with a rare disease called mast cell disease, and she's also autistic. And Coldplay music empowered me to reconnect with my previous self.
Everyone should go see Coldplay at least once in their life to experience it.
Yeah, I think it's just the whole atmosphere. It's the crowd. It's Chris Martin. I think he might be an angel, not a human being. He's actually amazing. I lost my little dog last week, so one of the songs is going to mean a lot to me, and I'll be crying all the way through.
We met lining up at Melbourne last year, and then we did the Sydney shows as well. So she calls me her Coldplay mum.
I first started loving Coldplay when I was around 13 years old. I always heard them on the radio, but the Viva album, obviously, is where my real love started.
Just Chris Martin is just unbelievable. I've even had a little tattoo like his.
I've got a bit of FOMO now. Well, the clocks say it's time for a check on the weather, and the yellow sun has made way for the rain today. Let's go over to Stav. What have you got for us?
More rain, actually, Riz. Good news for our gardens, though. It has been so dry. We do need it. Good evening to you. Low pressure is dominating the sea now certainly for Thursday and Friday, but even as we head into the weekend, Saturday could be quite a wet one, particularly later on in the day. It'll be blustery at times too, and temperatures just coming down a little bit closer to the seasonal norm. Now, we had this weather front across the country. It was quite fragmented, though, across the southeast, so a few areas caught a downpour. It's moving away now, and then tonight it's actually going to turn drier with clear skies. Winds turning a little bit lighter as well. So it will be a bit cooler than it's been the last few nights. Probably outside the M25 we're into single digits, but in the city centre around 11 or 12 degrees. So it means we start off quite fresh tomorrow, bright, lots of sunshine. The breeze begins to pick up, and then we'll start to see showers developing into the afternoon. And I think there's a greater chance of us catching a heavy, perhaps thundery downpour with even some hail mixed in as well. But in between there will be some sunshine. Top temperatures 20 or 21 degrees. That is cooler and less humid than it's been today. Now, as we head into Friday, this feature in the south could bring us a spell of heavy rain first thing. So early Friday, some wet weather moves its way through. That'll clear away. And then it's an afternoon of sunshine and showers, some of them heavy and thundery once again. Top temperatures 20 or 21 degrees. So around the average, like I mentioned, but it won't feel around the average when the showers move through. A ridge of high pressure briefly for Saturday, so quite a bit of dry weather around before this deep area of low pressure pushes into the north and the west of the UK. So we'll start again fresh, lots of sunshine around. The clouds will tend to build through the day, maybe an odd shower later on, but it's not until we reach the overnight period that the rain moves through. Temperatures 19 or 20 degrees, maybe a little bit cooler. And then Sunday's probably the better day of the weekend. A lot of dry weather around. We'll be unlucky if you catch a shower. But into next week, again, it stays on the fresh side with low pressure dominating. So we'll continue to see the theme of sunshine and showers. So hopefully we'll get our rain for the gardens, Riz.
OK. Note to self, it's good for the gardens. Thank you, Stav. And that is where we leave you. Thanks very much for being with us. And can I just say, if you want to see some amazing images, check out the Wildlife Photographer of the Year Best Pictures so far that's on the BBC News website or via the BBC News app. I don't think you'll be disappointed. You can, of course, see other stories from London on our Facebook and Instagram. From me and everyone on the team, whatever you're doing, enjoy your Wednesday evening. Bye-bye for now.